Geez. I can't seem to start one of these in a way where I don't seem like you've just like turned a camera on me and I'm like, oh gosh, how could I have seen this coming? Um, you can you I have the control of when I start and stop recordings. I should be perfectly capable of knowing when when the recording is starting. Anyway, that's just jokes. Hello everybody though. It's Purrgression Series 2 time. We're pulling from Legacy of Darkness today. This is our next set. So this one is a weird one. A big focus in this set is dedicated to warrior types and dragon types, which is a little weird. They're never really to the point of super viable, like, a dragon deck or a dedicated warrior deck is never going to be as good as, flip monster control. So this is a bit of a weird set for that. It's also got some stuff like Hades, which is really kind of useless. Tyrant Dragon isn't great. Marauding Captain's good. Freed is pretty mediocre. Parshath is alright. A lot of these ultra rares are just kind of weird. Last Turn is in the set, and I really hope nobody pulls Last Turn, or anyone who did pull Last Turn didn't also pull Jowgen. I don't think anyone has, but I don't know for sure, so that's dreadful. Scared of that. Reinforcement of the army is actually really good just because if we get reinforcement as well as an exiled force, that's just an advantage engine. It means that we technically have 2 copies of exiled force. It means we technically have 2 copies of exiled force in our deck. Reinforcement just searches any warrior, so we can just grab whatever we need. Last Turn, again, bad. The drop-off is in the set. This is a very annoying, funny card. Asura Priest is in this set. It can attack all monsters. It's a spirit monster. Spirit monsters are kind of the other big theme of this set. Spirit monsters are a subtype of monsters that return to the hand during the end phase and typically have powerful effects. Most of them are quite bad. A few of them are quite good. I believe, what is the name of the one that's in here that resets flip effect monsters? That's a funny one. And that's a very good card. We're going to want to pull copies of that. I believe it's Tsukiyomi. It's one of the attacks from Naruto. It's one of those fucking things. So we do want to pull that because that's a very good card. The secret rares here include Yatagarasu, the other spirit monster that's just extremely broken. Yatagarasu is probably the most famous spirit monster because it locks your opponent into an unwinnable game state. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, we won't have the opportunity to really, pop off with the Yata lock until Invasion of Chaos, which is when the other half of this combo comes out, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. If you get Yatagarasu and said, if you get both of them assembled, then they create an unwinnable game state for your opponent, so we're going to hope nobody manages to pull both halves of that. The other secret rare is Injection Fairy Lily, which is pretty good, but, I don't care for it that much personally. What I'm actually really hoping to pull here is a Fiber Jar. This is a very funny monster. I've always been fond of the jar monsters. Fiber Jar is a particularly funny one. It basically resets the duel. When it's flipped face up, all players shuffle their hand, field, and graveyard into the deck and draw 5 cards. So if you want to reset everything on the field except the life points, that is how you do it. It's kind of a mulligan, but also kind of just pure advantage sometimes. So that's a lot. Without further to do, that's not the phrase. Let's just do our pulls and see what we get. I almost pulled from Labyrinth of Nightmare by accident. That's rough. Anyway, 24 packs of Legacy of Darkness. Here we go. Flip cards. Right off the bat, I'm not seeing, what's this? Mysterious Guard is apparently kind of a good card from my memory. It's a flip effect monster. Target 1 face-up card on field if you control a warrior monster. You can target 1 face-up monster on field, return the target to the top of the deck. That's not bad. The additional monster, this is weird. You need a lot of warrior monsters. I don't know how good that's going to be. Probably not any good. Cave Dragon is worth mentioning. It is 2000 attack on a level 4 that can be normal summoned, but it can't attack unless you control another dragon-type monster, I believe. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. Super rejuvenation is very good later down the line, but right now it's not going to be a huge deal. Let's see. Nothing. Bad reaction to Smochi could eventually build Nurse Burn. Ominous Fortune Telling, that is a funny little card that every standby phase you can declare a card type in your opponent's hand, monster, spell, or trap. If you get it right, you burn them for 700, which is a not insignificant amount of damage. 700 is pretty gnarly, especially if you're doing it every turn. The safest bet, of course, is to call monster, and oftentimes they'll just have a monster in hand because they can't normal summon multiple times. So it's likely they'll just have one stuck in there. Nothing else broken here. Warrior Returning Alive is kind of an interesting one if we wanted to go really, really hard on the Warriors, but we probably don't. Heart of Clearwater. What does this do again? I remember hearing it brought up on occasion. If the equipped monster's attack is 1300 or higher, this card is destroyed. The equipped monster with this card is not destroyed as a result of battle or by a card effect. Holy shit, wait. So to any monster with lower than 1300 attack, the monster cannot be destroyed as a result of battle or by the effect of a card that targets it. So if we equip this to a Witch or a Sandgen, it's just unkillable unless they get some way to power up our monster or to pop the Heart of Clearwater. That's a very interesting pickup. We might want to consider running that. Nothing else too huge here. Warrior Digrepher is decent if you're going for a warrior deck at this stage of the game. Oh, Marauding Captain. Holy shit. Alright, so maybe we should end up running a warrior deck. Now I'm curious. Now I'm very curious if I should go for the Marauding Captain warrior deck. We'll have to see what we pick up, because one Marauding Captain is not enough. Second Coin Toss. That's just one more reason why it's good we don't have Fairy Box in the game anymore. There's also Ominous Fortune Telling number 2 if we wanted to play 3 of those. Honestly, I might side deck 3 copies. Nothing too special in here. Another Heart of Clearwater. Ooh, Air Knight Parshath. Nice. Kind of. So here's the thing. I pulled Air Knight Parshath in the first Purrgression series, and I used it for a while, but it never once did anything for me. The one time I managed to summon it and it stuck, it got stolen and ended up helping my opponent way more than it helped me. Parshath just is bait to, hit with a trap hole. Now, we have less removal in this series, so I'll probably end up running it. It's just a really good card. For those of you who don't know what it does, it's a 1900 attack tribute monster, which is pretty low for a tribute monster, but it inflicts piercing battle damage to defense position monsters, and if it inflicts battle damage, you can draw a card. So it is an advantage generator, as well as a mediocre body. So we'll probably be running that one. Another Warrior Returning Alive. Ooh boy, Twin-Headed Behemoth. This one's interesting. This one caused a huge ruling dispute, famously, because you could only use the effect of each Twin-Headed Behemoth once per duel, and there was no way for them to tell what number of, or which Twin-Headed Behemoths in the graveyard had activated their once per duel effects and which hadn't, so they had to change the PSET on this one to make it make a little bit more sense. Funny card, though. It can revive itself, which makes it good tribute fodder. We'll probably run it for that reason. We might end up revamping the deck in a pretty major way with this. Exiled Force. Oh, wow. We're pulling a lot of really good warrior stuff, actually. That's interesting, because it means we could run a warrior-style deck. We could run the Mysterious Guard. Exiled Force is very good. It just pops a monster. Exiled Force is a level 4 warrior with 1000 attack and defense, tributed to target a monster and destroy it. Simple as that. Since it's not a spell or trap effect, it also gets around some of the forms of negation that exist currently, so that's really interesting. Also, Convulsion of Nature, my favorite card of all time. It just flips your decks upside down. There is no material benefit to that in the game right now, but I love it, and it's very funny, and I love that. Freakism, crazem, dude. Every warrior monster in the game is mine to possess and command. What does free do? I have actually not paid nearly enough attention. Negate spell effects that target him, and if you do destroy them during your draw phase, instead of conducting your normal draw, add a level 4... Okay. I feel like at this stage of the game, we're gonna... Also, I'm very sorry about my emails always popping off. Here's the thing. I've actually been working on figuring out how to do stuff with OBS. I've learned how to start and stop a recording without having to click in and out of OBS, so you have to, look at OBS every time. And I've also learned how to pause a recording, which is really cool, and unpause it, so that's one fun thing. I could probably mute my email, but I just hope to God every time I sit down to record that I don't get emails, and I get emails, and it's always really loud on the recording, so I'm very sorry about that. Luster Dragon number 2 coming up here, a tribute monster. A lot of crazy pulls this time around, but Luster Dragon 2 is not good. I'd give it to Alexis if I could. It's just a funny little tribute summon monster with big number, but not good for my purposes. So here's the thing, right? We've got all these warriors. I need reinforcement of the army, right? If I'm going to run... Ryu Senshi's an interesting pickup. This is a fusion monster, so we're not going to be fusion summoning it, but if we get Magical Scientist or any of the other cards that cheat out fusion monsters, Ryu Senshi's really good to have. He just negates normal trap cards for 1,000 life points, and that's really good. Also, what is it? Negate the effects of a spell card that targets it and destroy it. So it's a really nice little card to have. It's a great pickup for if we get Magical Scientist in the future. It's a really good card to combo with that one, so we're going to want to put that in the extra deck for sure. Troop Dragon is another monster that floats into more copies of itself. But with only one, we're probably not going to be running it. There's the second one. Also Legendary Ocean. That's great if we wanted to play Umi, but we're not going to be doing that. We've got 5 packs left, and here's the thing, right? So I've pulled all of these really good warrior monsters. If I'm going to run a warrior deck, I need reinforcement of the army. It's an ultra, but I need it to make the deck consistent. So I really hope I can pull it in the remaining pulls. We're definitely running Heart of Clearwater as well. That's going to be a huge one. Is that our... We've still got some packs. We've still got a chance. We've already pulled Crazy is the thing, so I really don't expect us to pull, another broken card. I just really, really need it. There's a third warrior returning alive, if I'm not mistaken. Also, the Hunter with 7 weapons, an interesting card. When he is normal summon, declare a type of monster. When battling it, increases attack by 1,000 during damage calculation. So that's pretty good. You just pick a monster that's already on the field, and he's there for that. And last turn. That's not the ultra rare I wanted, but it is the ultra rare I deserved. Alright then, this was a crazy draft. I mean, we pulled pretty absurd. The question is, what do we do with this knowledge? Let's start by singling out all the really good cards we want to play. First of all, and this might be controversial, I'm going to play 3 Ominous Fortune Telling in the side deck. 3 Ominous Fortune Telling in the side deck. What if we get to use it? Jeez, creasem. Let's see. Alright, Warrior Returning Alive. How many copies of Warrior Returning Alive does it make sense to play? We've got 3. Let's toss 3 in there for now. We didn't pull the Fiber Jar either. That's a darn shame. What is Throwstone unit? Let's take a gander at this little fella. Tribute 1 warrior type monster to target 1 phase of monster whose defense is less than or equal to the attack of this card. Wait, what? The attack of this card? His attack is 900. That's not good at all. I mean, there are monsters with very low defense, but that's going to be so situational. Let's toss 3 Heart of Clearwater in there for now. I still want to go on the equip spells. Is Maha Vilo spellcaster, not a warrior? That makes sense, though. Before we forget, let's toss Ryu Senshi in the extra. Senshi. Ba-ba-ba-da-da. We can take out Rabid Horseman right now. I'd rather not, actually. Who goes out? Thunder Dragon. Sorry, Thunder Dragon. Just need to take the Thunder Dragon out. Probably the best choice. Exiled Force, of course, we're gonna run. And Freed, we're gonna run. So, Exiled, Force, Freed, Freed the Matchless General, Sort. Oh, we also pulled Air Knight Parshath. The OG. Also not a warrior, so maybe we're not going to be as hard warrior as we want. Twin-headed Behemoth as well. Okay, alright. Twin-headed Behemoth is just a really good general card. We're just tossing all the good stuff in here for now. We're obviously going to be going through these with a fine-tooth comb after the fact. Patrician of Darkness is an interesting thing to talk about, I guess. Patrician lets you pick the attack target of your opponent's monsters, so you can kind of redirect them away from your cards that you care about. Honestly, not a bad card. We might even put one in the side deck. And of course, the last turn, there's no running last turn. Hunter with 7 weapons, let's toss in there. Do we have multiple copies? It is a common. I just didn't notice any more than 1 copy. Hunter with 7 weapons. Do we have a second copy of you in my deck? I don't think I do. That's unfortunate. There's Dragon Manipulator if we wanted to go really hard to counter Alexis specifically. I forgot Marauding Captain somehow. The whole reason. So, I can't spell. Marauding Captain level 3. Your opponent cannot target warrior type monsters for attacks except him. When he is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand. It does not need to be a warrior, so he's just a good general card. It's really good if you have 2 copies of him, because then your opponent can't attack at all. It's a Solar Flare Dragon lock. Alright, so what about Mysterious Guard? Let's reread this, because I really didn't understand its effect the first time around. Mysterious Guard. If you control a face-up monster on the field, target 1 face-up monster on the field. Then if you control a warrior, you can target an additional monster on the field. First target goes to the top of the deck, then the additional monster to the hand. So it's just pure advantage if we've got warriors, and if it's not, then it's just a Hain sort of effect. So no reason not to, right? Actually, it's a better Hain. So, yeah, wait, hold on. First target goes to the top of the deck. That's absurd. That's very strong. Yeah, so there's no reason not to run that. Alright. Let's start by taking out 7-colored fish. It's time. I'm sorry, 7-colored fish. Your time has come and gone. I appreciate all that you've done for us. I really do. Barrel Dragon as well. I'm going to toss you on the side deck for old time's sake, but I don't think I'm going to run you. Some Byra's a warrior. That's very good for us. Jiraigumo, I don't want you anymore either. We've got spellcasters at pretty big numbers here. Oh, this is hard. Okay, Earth. A lot of these warriors are Earth, but we also have Twin-Headed Behemoth, which is 1500 specifically. Ugh. Heart of Clearwater is going to be really good for our weak monsters. Do we want to run Light of Intervention, I guess is the question. Let's take out Barrel Dragon and Jiraigumo for good, and put Light of Intervention in the side deck, because I don't think we're going to be needing it in the specific way that we were using it before. Whew, boy. Heart of Clearwater is going to be really good with our lower level warrior monsters. We can equip this stuff to a Marauding Captain, a Guard, a Hunter with 7 weapons, even an Exiled Force. So that's just good to have. A lot of these are beaters. We can still be on the Maha Vilo and the Equip spell package, but I'm trying to think of other ways we can work with this. Let's go to our collection, actually. Well, let's just make sure there's nothing else I'm passing up. Patrician of Darkness I'm going to put in the side deck. He might be worth it, especially if we're running into a scenario where we have a lot of tribute fodder. Patrician. Do I want to run Michizure as well? That might be something worth. I might take out Stimpack, run a single Michizure, and then toss Patrician in the side deck. We're actually really mixing up our deck this time around, which is a little fun. Do we want to run... Do we still have... Yeah, we still have 3 Warrior Turning Alive in the main deck. That might be a mistake. What do we want to run? Oh boy, there's a lot going on here. I hope you can appreciate the complexities of this, huh? Declare 1 type of monster. Any monster cannot... So it's just a bad version of Stumbling. Why did I pull Fusion Blade? I don't remember. Susa Soldier is also a weird spirit monster. I really don't want to run spirits. They're very frustrating cards. um, oh boy, there's so many cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Have you noticed? Um, boy, oh boy. We've got famous anti-Jinzo tech double snare over here. Last turn's a funny pickup, but there's no way I'm running it. I'm sorry. No way in heck. Alright, so here's our collection. Let's think about this, right? For the twin-headed, we want to see if we have Flying Kaminari. Flying Kaminari is the Searcher, number 1. There are 2 number 2s, but those are bad. How many do we have? We have 1 Flying Kaminari. Do I want to run that to get into my Tribute Buddy? Probably not. I mean, maybe. Good. How many Tribute monsters am I running? These 2? So, I also don't have any big Tribute monsters, which is kind of a problem. Flying Kaminari goes into... It's also an insect, so it doesn't synergize with the rest of the deck, but we're also not really running... Aside from Guard, there's nothing that needs us to have Warriors, right? Other than Warrior Returning Alive, which... Here's the thing, I'm starting to consider more and more running it at 3, because we're going to pop Exiled Force. You know, we're going to be tributing stuff. We're going to be pitching them for tribute to the Doomed. We're going to be losing them as a result of battle, any other reason. It might just be really good to have 3 Warrior Returning Alive. Maybe it'll be a brick, but I can side it out if that happens, you know? The 3 Bubonic Vermin I want to run as just a tribute engine. Maybe I'll run Flying Kaminari instead of UFO Turtle. And then for the Earth monsters, we want to see if we have Giant Rat. We have 2 Giant Rat. That's very good. So we'll take out the remaining UFO Turtles and run 2 more Giant Rat. So we will toss 2 Giant Rat in there. We could play a Labyrinth Wall, but that seems a little unnecessary. So we've got Freed and Parchath as tribute rewards. Zumbira the Dark is a warrior and just a big body. We've got some additional cards in here that are just beaters to be equipped with stuff. 2 Giant Rat, Flying Kaminari, the Witch, the Sengen, and all this good stuff. As well as the Guard to facilitate more warrior shenanigans. Do I want to be on as many equips as I am? Also, I'm at 48 cards still, so we're going to want to thin that down. I don't know how I didn't notice that. We can take some of these out, right? Let's take out the Hysteric Fairies. Take out the Dark Elf? Question mark? Let's take out the Dark Elf. Should we take out... boy, this is rough. I don't have any more really good spell and trap removal as well. That's another concern, right? Because I lost Heavy Storm. So I might want to run this Nobleman. But what would I take out for it? I mean, alright, so... If Vilo is going to be a smaller part of this deck, we don't need to go as hard on equip spells. I'm going to toss Black Pendant in the side deck. Nobleman's probably something we want to consider running. And then what else? Let's take out Black Pendant altogether, right? And then let's toss a Malevolent Nuzzler in the side deck. We'll be on the big equip, right? Max Axe of Despair plus Vilo is just a good combo. And we can still search Vilo, so we don't necessarily need to build our entire deck around Vilo. I want to think about more tribute summon monsters, because I've kind of got this whole thing with Twin-Headed Behemoth and Marauding Captain and all them that kind of facilitates a tribute deck, but not really strong enough that I guess it's super consistent, so maybe not. Let's take out the remaining Malevolent Nuzzlers, right? Oh boy, take out the last Malevolent Nuzzler. If we don't need to be running a bunch of equip spells, I'm going to be on the 1. But that plus Vilo is still good. Maybe we should take Vilo out. Should we just take Vilo out altogether and then, you know, just have an equip spell because it's good, as opposed to facilitate Vilo combos? But I mean, Vilo's not terrible even as it is. It's 1550. I don't want to cut it to 1. That doesn't make any sense, right? If you're gonna run Vilo at all, you run as many as you have. But I don't know. Is it worth it? I mean, this is a really specific 2-card combo, right? And then, do we need 3 Heart of Clearwater is also a question you want to ask. And also, what is our win condition, right? So a big part of this is like, oh, we're going to tribute summon free. We're going to use him to search Exiled Force, or even Hunter with 7 weapons. We're going to get advantage with Parshath. We've got all these sort of advantagey sort of cards, but we don't really have a... Are we beating our opponent to death? I mean, that's kind of the generic win condition. But do we know for sure that that's what we want to do? Guard bounces their stuff, and then we get in for lethal with big number, right? So we do want to be on Vilo for big number. If for no other reason than big number. Do we just toss a 3rd Warrior Returning Live in the side deck? Because that seems unnecessary. Do we care about Michizure? Are we going to be losing our monsters often enough that we should have Michizure? And do we want Magic Cylinder in the deck is a question that I once again find myself asking. Magic Cylinder isn't great. It's just very funny. And I want to run it because it's funny and because it's such a high rarity card that it's funny that I have it. But is there a reason for me to be running Magic Cylinder? Can't I just toss this guy in the side deck? Oh boy. I really... what a pain. What a difficult decision. We're in a really weird spot, right? Where this deck feels pretty okay. These float into the other Earth Warriors. Faith is just gonna be good to get back our removal spells. Oof. I'm gonna cut Heart of Clearwater to 2, and here's why. We've still got a lot of big number monsters, right? The cards that get affected by Heart of Clearwater are all of these in the bottom row, plus these 2 Faith. A lot of these we don't want to equip Heart of Clearwater to. Faith, no real reason, Guard, no real reason, except to make them hard to get over. But, some of these other monsters we might actually have more of a reason to. But I don't feel like we need it often enough to run it at 3. That might be a mistake, but I can take out a Warrior Returning Alive to side it in games 2 and 3 if it proves to be an issue, or side out the Magic Cylinder. But I'm going to stick with this, I think. This is a deck I think I'm going to stick with. It's a weird deck, but we did some big changes, so I'm just excited to see if it goes well. Thank you for joining me in building a funny deck for the Purrgression series. I'll be back next time to tell you how our round of Legacy of Darkness went. That's the one. I will see you then.